We are now recording.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome back to Riffs. We have some arts to show you, some wonderful arts.
We
Well, they're all
do.
wonderful. They're always wonderful.
Ooh, hang on. Let me learn how to mouse with the left hand. All right. So, we've got cuteness for the sake of cuteness from Elora. This is Patrick and Jackie. And
Mhm.
we have Kitty, no. we've got the Riffs cast as Criana sees it. I think Alicia as the Rock is excellent. I think it's all excellent casting, honestly.
In fact, in the comments section, Firefrog did suggest that Lee would probably be played by Jack Black, and I have to agree to that.
I laughed pretty
Yeah.
hard watching that. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then we have
This fine fellow in a language that is not English, but that's fine.
Drew the Mila wants to party all the time. which
Oh,
is
we could use his
awesome.
Twitter name, which is Neoue. Neoue.
Yeah, Neo.
Neoe.
Neoe.
He prefers to just be called Neo.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Sweet.
Neo.
Keanu
That'll
Reeves. Neo.
Keanu
All right.
Reeves.
Ain't no party like a Mila party.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Then we have a picture from Kinsey, which is Mila / Nora / Mariah's dream.
Yep.
Pretty rad.
Is pretty rad.
It goes pretty deep, and they're
Yeah.
surfing.
Yes. Then we've got one from June, which is just a picture of Mila / Nora / Mariah.
Just a picture?
I was gonna say just
It's
a
damn
picture.
good.
It's
It's fucking
It's
amazing.
amazing. Yes.
I
was
was
using
and look
that
at her tits.
sarcastically.
Her tits look so good.
Rocket.
Like
Leave
look
it to
at them.
Criana to focus on that part.
Okay, well,
What?
I do admit that is a shapely bust.
It is.
Yeah. Oh my god. Like I thought I was being generous with Mila, but that's just beautiful. That is art. I mean, beside the boobs, everything is fantastic, but the boobs are like.
If you guys haven't noticed, Criana's got this thing.
I love boobs.
Yep.
That's just how I roll.
But yes, that is absolutely
Just how you roll.
gorgeous. Then we've got a few of Jarek's, who's not actually Riffs.
Nope.
Then we've got another one from Neo, which is absolutely
Yes.
amazing, which is if Lee had picnic time.
It looks like he's going to buy a bottle of Jack Daniels for 10 credits and a kiss.
Uh-huh. And he's considering
Or he's
it.
considering it, at least. He's like, do I really want that?
Is it worth
Picnic
it?
time. Picnic time.
Hey, does New Zoot have a little American flag in his bandana? It looks like it. Or
I
maybe
think
that's a
so.
price
It might be a
tag. I can't
price
tell.
tag, yeah.
It might be a price tag.
It's
Yeah.
hard to tell.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell indeed,
I want that top hat.
but it's great.
I want New Zoot's top hat.
Yeah.
You have to slay him.
No, I don't want to
don't
slay
do
him.
No. Anywho.
All right.
All right. Let's start the session. So before we get into the session proper, is there anything that you guys, the players, want to ask me, the GM?
Ooh. How was your day?
It was good. Thank you very much, Piff. All future questions to be more pertain to this game.
I have a few since I wasn't here last week.
Yeah.
One is, of course, Al's dream sequence. The other one is Al would like to
Wait,
talk...
Al's dream sequence is not a question. That's a statement.
Not if you put a question mark in front of it.
Al's dream sequence.
Yeah, we'll start
sequence.
the actual session. We'll play it. We'll
Alright.
play your dream suit. I've never heard this, so you better keep it clean. If it gets really weird erotic, we're gonna cut it. Okay.
It
So
gets a
just-
little surreal, but I think everyone
Hey,
keeps their
surreal
clothes
works.
on.
As-
So-
Okay, well that's the important thing.
Yeah.
Gotta keep this classy, right?
And then Al would like to do a small little session with the coalition guy in the med bay. Kirk, I think is his name.
The guy in Kirk, right? Yeah, he's
Yeah.
in coalition armor.
Probably while they were getting caved in, or before they got caved in. And then the only thing was we were going to ask, I believe you said it was okay, but we were going to try and do something with Pam, a little retrospectively.
I told you. I think I was.
Yes, and then we
No,
said
just
that there might be some epic
Yeah,
battle
no.
in your mind.
We can do a little retrograde on that. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to listen to the dream sequence. We'll do that small RP between Al and Kirk, right? We'll do this retroactive kind of James T's death area thing, and then we're going to kick into real time because we ended the session while you're still in conversation with the leader of the Red Suns, Gyro Beid, and that's what we'll start things off. So, is that okay with everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah, sounds good.
One slight request, something I would have asked. It's real quick. The scout, when we told her to go, because it doesn't look like we're going to have much of a chance to do this, or let me put it this way: our priorities are elsewhere. If the group is okay, I was going to ask the scout to pass on to Flint that if they are grateful for everything we have done, to be sure they honor Elizabeth's final wishes, because I don't we've got bigger fish to fry.
No, they don't know what Elizabeth's final wishes are. She said that to you. Well, I guess Fatima
right.
knows.
I thought
Fatima
everyone
might
was in
have
the room with
overheard.
me, yeah.
Not everyone, just Fatima.
Just Fatima.
And with all due respect, Elizabeth, she didn't make the promise to Fatima. She made the promise to you.
Oh, yeah, that's fair enough. Then never mind that one. We will either settle it or we don't.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You said, "Is there any last thing I can do for you?" Right? And it was her ashes, and it was in her final request.
That is fair enough.
So I'm going to stick with that. Okie dokie. Excuse me. So let's do this chronologically then. Let's fire up Al's dream. Piff, you can count us down, and we'll take a listen.
Me.
Okay. Warmed up?
I still need to get the link. Give me a sec.
To you guys.
No, I got
in
it.
the
I
group
just
chat.
had to open it. Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
1 second.
Oh, it's because Piff won.
We just Yep. No, I got it. Thank you, everyone. Everyone good?
Yep.
I think that girl was a yes from Burn.
It tends to be either that or he's joking. Either way.
You'll probably see it. Yeah, that's
You'll see it.
Or burn.
I'm good. I'm good.
Right. 3, 2, 1, go.
As Al becomes aware of his surroundings, he finds himself in the behemoth's medical bay, working on Elizabeth's leg. He notices, for some reason, a mirror at the head of the bed that he's never noticed before, and in the mirror he can see himself with blonde hair and pointy ears of an elf. And Elizabeth is looking up at him and saying, "Why are you doing this?" Al smiles and says, "You're hurt. I need to help you." Elizabeth shakes her head and says, "I don't understand. Then why did you do this?" All of a sudden, and without realizing the change, Al now holds a syringe to Elizabeth's neck. He sees in the mirror a picture of his old self. Dark hair, sunglasses, his original human face. Al shakes his head sadly. "You left me no choice." "No choice," she repeats. "Yes, that face had no choice. A killer." Again, without realizing what changed, Al looks down and sees one of the people in Flint who he had treated. And she says, "But this face, a healer." Al sees again in the mirror that he is a blonde-haired, pointy-eared elf again. And when he looks down, he sees Jasper, with a hole in his face, the bottom part of his mouth talking again. "But I was not healed. Which face were you then?" Al again sees in the mirror a picture of his old self. Jasper's head tilts as he says accusingly, The healer would never do this. You're still a killer. Without realizing it, Jasper has changed into the woman who had had her limbs chopped off and her tongue cut out. She sits on the bed. Al holds a syringe to her throat. She says nothing, just stares at him with a mix of revulsion and pity. Al notices in the mirror that he seems to be flickering back and forth between his old face and his new one. Then he hears next to him James T. Which face are you? Al shakes his head. I don't know. Whichever face I need. With that, he hears bitter laughter all around him. Everyone he's ever helped, everyone he's ever murdered, stands around him, pointing at him. Together, they intone, which face? The healer or the killer? Al's faces flicker from one to the other. Then, in a chorus of voices, echoing across the room, choose one. Choose one. Which face? Al falls to his knees, grasping his face in his hands. I don't know. The voices continue to intone around him. And then, silence. Al feels a hand on his shoulder, and he looks up. Kneeling in front of him is Kennedy. She smiles at him sweetly and says, I don't care what face you have. As long as here, she points to Al's chest, doesn't change. I'll be here for you. And with that, Al wakes up. He shoots up in bed, covered in sweat, breathing heavily. He wipes sweat off his face with his right hand, and then stares at it as if wondering why it's flesh and blood. Then, closing his eyes and catching his breath, he gets up and gets dressed.
And that is that. Good job, Squee.
Very
Yes.
nice. Very
Yes.
nice.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, with that aside, the next one, if it was in chronological order, then it would be the conversation with Kirk Wright, correct?
I believe so, yes.
All right, yeah, so it's your rodeo. Kirk would still be recovering in the little medical section of the behemoth. At this point, he is still being stabilized from his cardiac arrest and the other traumas that he's gone through. He's not very, very mobile, but he is lucid and alert at this point. He's able to speak without much discomfort and even raise his head up a little bit.
Al would first probably check his vitals and ask if he's feeling okay.
He replies with, well, okay is a relative term, but I feel better.
Al will
Thank
nod.
you.
And then he'll pull up a chair and sit down. He'll say, do you mind if I talk to you for a bit?
He pauses for a moment. His very, very light blue eyes scan over you appraisingly. His hair probably used to be blonde, but it's kind of more blondie gray. Gray is really sparkled in there. As he replies with, well, it depends what you want to talk to me about.
Al shrugs and says, I just want to understand better. It's clear that you don't like magic, and by nature of that, you don't like my kind.
You're already wrong, he says. It's not that I don't like magic. I hate and distrust it. And it's not that I hate your kind. I just don't like your kind is here on Earth. That's all. Your kind are probably very, very fine, very, very nice people on your own planets. But
Al,
you're right. I'm not comfortable with you being here right now. But he shrugs a little bit. It's not really up to me.
Al will point to the armor and say, "Do all of your people feel the same way?"
My people looks down at the armor. Goes, no. You're probably dancing around the obvious. You're asking whether I'm part of a coalition, a big government out west, right?
Not so much dancing, just unsure, not wanting to be accusatory.
Yeah. If I was a coalition officer, you'd be in a lot bigger trouble. No, I'm not one of those anymore. I'm retired, I guess you could say.
Al will nod and he'll say, "So, if I am to understand, then I should stop. I was harsh yesterday in my judgment of you.
Mm-hmm.
You say that you are uncomfortable with us being here, and my first instinct to that is to be defensive. But the truth of the matter is, I don't understand why. Why are you uncomfortable with my kind here?"
Where are you from? Okay, no, don't even answer that. Here, I'll come up with something that I was taught when I was a kid, and you know, my old man, he had this opinion, and I kind of have it now too. Imagine you have a house, right? And you have your own family, and you're having a wonderful time, and then some horrible disaster blows open the front door. A disaster that you never really wanted or expected, a disaster caused by external forces, and it blows your door wide open. And sure enough, things start coming through your front door. Some of them, they seem to be okay. They don't tend to hurt you or anything like that. But the other ones are monsters, and the other ones are cruel individuals controlling those monsters. And they kill your wife, and they kill half your children, and now you're huddled in the basement hoping that they'll go away. You understand, Earth is that home, and we were that family. And that fucking magic and those fucking rifts that opened up all that time ago has brought these strangers and these invaders into our home. And sure, you might not be a monster. You might not try to kill me. In fact, you're trying to help me. But that doesn't stop the fact that you don't belong here. This isn't your home, and you're just like the rest of them. We're huddling in our goddamn basement, and we're trying to claw our way back up to the main grounds. That's why.
Al nods, and he's quiet
His
for a long time.
vital signs at this point are spiking quite a bit. Not that he's going really bad, but the emotion and the anger that is coloring this is definitely not helping his recovery. He's in an agitated state, we'll just say.
Al will notice it and hold his hands and say, "I did not mean to upset you. I am certainly not here to judge you. I'm just trying to understand."
Yeah, well, that's as clear as I can make it.
I have one last question that would be important to me. What could we ever do to change your mind?
Go home. Go home, and once we get our own planet figured out, then come back as visitors, not as invaders.
Al will nod, close his eyes, and then say, "Again, I'm sorry to have upset you. If you need anything, let me know."
Yeah, I'll be fine. Survive worse than this, he says. But his voice quavers a little bit, as if he's not so sure of that.
And with that, Al will leave him to rest.
Okay, cool. I hope that is sufficient. I hope that has
Yes.
educated you as you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I knew Squee, you and Burn were talking about something that might have passed, an opportunity might have passed when you were surveying the scene in which you found James T. So what were you thinking in regards to that?
Yeah, we were thinking that obviously there wasn't a whole lot of information to go off of on the James T. Enough to get our curiosity perked. But there was one thing we never even considered doing, which was asking Pam to use kind of like what she did when we first met her, where she read parts of that battlefield to determine who the mercenaries were. And I was wondering
the
if it'd be
object
possible.
read. Sure. Let me just get out my main book and just quickly skim over the object read so I can let you know what information we'd be able to communicate to you guys, and then we'll go from there. Okay, because it only gives like certain amounts of information, right? And the other thing is, what would she read? James T's body wouldn't really count. It's not like a speak to dead spell or anything like that, so she couldn't use his body. There were things around the campfire, and there probably flecks of metal from like pieces of metal that you don't know whether they belong to James T or other things or anything like that. So she'll survey the scene with as best of what she has, and we'll go from there. So here we go. Object read. Psychometry. Interesting. Oh, I have to roll for her, in fact. This is important because it's a skill check. So let me do that first. So first for the impressions, then images, and then present. Okay. Let me just get the right window, and I'll roll 3 1d100s. Okay, so she's able to get impressions and whether they're present, but she's not going to get any images out of this. Okay. All right, so she's able to tell you that she's able to find what probably was, it looks like it was like a whittled spoon that was found salvaged by the campfire. And this is where she's getting most of the information. There's nothing that she could get off of James T or what was his possession because the owner is now dead. So she wasn't able to figure anything out in regards to that. As far as the flecks of metal, there is no psychic resonance on it. So whether it was a part of James T or part of something else, it was probably part of like an ATV, something like that, right? Or some sort of entity that doesn't have a human mind, therefore there's no impression that she can get. However, an old cast away whittled spoon, a makeshift spoon she's able to get off of. She's able to figure out that the owner of it was probably not a very good individual, she says. She mentions that his aura is as slimy. It's male, by the way, and his aura is about as slimy as Coleman, the individual, the proprietor of the traveling show that she was a part of before she met up with the Endless Storytellers. And the last general emotional state of mind was elation and relief on his mind. The object's general purpose was clearly a spoon, and that the last owner is currently still living. She also says it's never been in contact with any magic or supernatural forces. And then she's able to glimpse the present for a moment. She's looking through the owner's eyes. And she sees, what time would it be at this point? I'm just trying to remember. I believe it was early-ish in the morning. I think I said it was around 10 o'clock. She sees the eyes, through the eyes of this individual for a few seconds. He's currently driving. He's looking out the windscreen of a vehicle, probably some sort of Jeep or ATV, and he's approaching a large city with an industrial backdrop, big smokestacks hitting across the sky, a very modern manufacturing type city that seems quite large. She's able to smell through his nose the smell of fresh water and the cool breeze of a large body of water nearby. And she hears a song playing on a personal disc player that he has plugged into his ATV. And that's all that she gets.
Can Al ask, does the water smell salty or fresh?
No, didn't smell like. She knows water, that's
Right,
for sure.
yeah.
And definitely smelled like fresh water. Oh, just a second. Focus. Current state of mind. Appearance, dress. General location. Oh. Just a second. Before she goes, she's able to focus inward a little bit to get the identity of the individual. And she says that they met him before. There's this fellow named Roger Morris.
Yeah.
Typically, I would give, like, it says, you get the general features of the individual as well. But the psychic may also identify a place or person by feature if he or she has seen it before or runs into them in the near future. She saw Roger before. So, yeah, she's able to identify that. That's his spoon. He's currently live, moving towards some big industrial city.
And
By
he's elated.
fresh water.
So the thing that would bother me would be, one of my theories I had was, of course, James T. went with him and his robots. Did something, kill the robot, did whatever, and they killed him in retaliation, which, admittedly, knowing James T. the way we do, isn't unlikely. However, had that been the case, I doubt the emotions would have been elation and relief. So that is a sticking point for me. In the sense that if it was retaliation for something James T. done, it probably would have been anger or sadness or anything but elation.
Yeah, well, Pam mentions that it's probably been a few days since, right? Like, this didn't happen like fresh body, right? It's 3 or 4 days, 2 or 3 or 4 days might have passed. So she just only can say his general state of mind, not his state of mind when he committed the act.
Oh, you mean
if
at
he committed
present?
anything? Yeah,
Oh,
at
I
present,
thought that
his
was
current
attached
state of
to-
mind.
Okay, never mind.
Or it's twofold. It's his current state of mind when she was looking through his brain, but also his general state of mind. So if you're generally an angry person or a happy person. So yeah.
So
Relief was what she sensed initially, and elation is just how he normally is. His personality, we'll just say.
The question would be, did we keep contact with him? I know we gave him contact to Flint.
No, exactly. You said when you passed by Flint, heads up on this, but you didn't get any contact information. No, he went one way, you went the other. Flint would be your only touchstone.
Yeah. Would anyone have any objection to calling Flint to try and get his contact information?
I wouldn't have any objection.
And we can also ask and be sure if they've come to a conclusion yet. Maybe it's unlikely, but Byrne brought it up. That might be that they found he was guilty and Roger was just carrying out their wishes. So we could also figure that out too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just let you know one. Never mind. Fatima, you do have radio communication with Fatima, one of the elder traders. So you're able to open communications with her. We don't need to roleplay the entire conversation unless you guys really want to, and instead we can just do an exchange of information in a more narrative style.
Sure.
They had not seen or heard of anyone named Roger or any sort of robotic forces, and the last time they saw James T. was with you. They asked what the status was in regards to that.
I could have sworn that we updated them when.
Yeah.
When he died?
No,
No,
we
no,
basically
no.
told Flint how to get a hold of that guy so that they could deal with him directly. And we did
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
before he left.
Yeah. They say he didn't answer his radio. It's been dead. No contact. They haven't seen or heard from him
All right.
at all.
Then we would let them know that we found James T's body and that we're fairly certain that this gentleman killed him, though we have no real reason for why or motive.
Fatima says she's not very upset to hear that he's dead because they were getting more and more evidence implying that they wanted to take a look at his cybernetics, and if he had some sort of vibroblade on him, then it was very likely that he would be the prime suspect.
Well,
Al would confirm that he did have a vibroblade on him.
yeah.
And then say,
She's like, all right, well then justice has been done one way or another. There's no reason why, by this sounds of surprise on your voice, there's no reason why you'd be lying to me all of a sudden, asking about this guy when you already knew.
Al will nod and say, well, I suppose we can at least let the families know their murder has been dealt with.
She's like, yeah, we'll definitely take care of that. And there's no need to bringing the body. We'll take your word with it. We don't need to string him up. You know, we're not barbarians. What are we going to do with this corpse anyway, right? So
Okay.
when you radio in, though, she also is able to give you a bit of an update in regards to the Greencastle situation. This is, once again, retroactive to the conversation that you're having with Gyro Beid, but it's still some information that you might find interesting.
Yeah.
The 350,000 credits that you gave to the Elder Traders has been put to good use so far. They've been able to identify the most destructive merc band. They're called the Anarchists. They're small, but they're very true to their name. They are some of the most violent and hardest to control. Although they were able to pay off their leadership, and the Anarchists have actually now dispersed from Greencastle looking for greener pastures. In addition, a half dozen or so of the smaller merc groups have also been paid off and have confirmed to have left Greencastle already. They also have been able to gather a little bit more information. Right now, Greencastle doesn't have enough food harvested to feed all the mercenaries. And also, the merc band called the Bronze Gators, the Red Suns, or both the Bronze Gators and the Red Suns, they're not too sure, but they're planning on some sort of political move against the Queen. That's all the information that they got so far. Fatima asks how things have been, if you've been safe. You can reply honestly or not. But she'll also mention that, sure enough, many mercenaries have poured into Flint asking a lot of questions. So she says the area is still very, very, very hot right now, that you're probably good waiting at least another week before even thinking about coming back. Other than that, even longer perhaps. She confirms that there's a bounty of 40 million credits on all your heads. 5 million per. 40 million for all of you.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She nods, and she says, I have no idea how they're going to pay for it, but the Queen says she'll pay it to the first merc that's able to do so.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll probably be calling them back soon, but we don't know that yet. So
Yeah. I will want to make sure that Fatima got the information from the tracker that was with us about the mushrooms.
The tracker hasn't been there yet.
yeah, I don't think she
Oh,
left
okay.
it when we found James T. Or she had just left.
She left just
Yeah.
after. It's going to be at
Just
least a
after.
few days to get there. You can
Yeah.
tell her to keep a heads up in regards to it. You can fill her in on what the mushrooms do, but she can't confirm anything because...
Yeah. I'll just do that then.
And
We
that's-
sent 18 mushrooms with her, and if I recall correctly, one mushroom was enough to feed 10 people around there.
No, you're misremembering. One mushroom mushrooms for one person.
1 mushroom is for 1 person. Okay.
Yeah.
And
it's the equivalent of 1 meal.
Yes, that's right. And you're fully
Sated.
sated. Yeah.
Mhm.
I will also mention that we set coordinates to a cave, which is very dangerous. So if she wants to explore it, only touch the brown mushrooms. Don't touch any of the other ones.
She mentions that the Flint is in no position to go on any sort of dangerous excursion, and they don't go around Woodbridge for a reason, but the information is useful regardless.
I just felt it was good to mention because you guys were having a hard time feeding the refugees, if I recall correctly.
Okay. Anything else you wanted to talk to Fatima about?
Not at the moment. Not for me.
Yeah, not at the moment.
Okay. All right. Well, I just have to quickly use the washroom because apparently my bladder is the size of a pea. But this will give you guys an ample opportunity to talk amongst yourselves because we're going to go right back into Gyro Beid's radio communication with you guys in regards to his offer, right?
Yeah.
So while I use the washroom, why don't you guys just talk amongst yourselves, get a general idea, and then I'll be right back, okay?
Inferno, before you go real quick.
I gotta go. Sorry.
Okay. He's
gotta go.
I need to restart the call because I don't know if for you guys, but he's cutting in and out every 5 seconds or so.
Really?
So, yeah.
He's not for me. So
Yeah.
let's just restart the call. You host.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. So hang on a sec.
Okay.
Do. There we go.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Wow.
Oh.
Hello. Kitty, I swear to God, you're really upsetting me tonight. You stop it.
Stop it.
Don't look at me with those eyes of murder.
All right. So
Yeah.
I think the prudent move would be to ask him if it would be all right to call him back
Yes.
to give us a few hours possibly, and to give us another private radio band that we can confirm or deny.
Right. I completely agree. And then I personally would like to call Flint back because as cool as it is for us to have this kind of decision, I think that really the people who it'll affect most should have a say in it, which is Flint.
Yeah, exactly.
And we should at least ask them, so is this going to help you? Is this going to hurt you? What do you think? And then we can make our decision based off of, or help make our decision based off of what they say.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there,
no.
Squee. I just, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
I
and no one
understand.
wants their DM to piss their pants.
I understand completely. It's just I had to restart the call, so it's no big deal.
That's fine.
But no, I've been there. Trust me.
He's pissed his pants before.
Yeah, it's true. What the fuck?
I once did it in a Boy Scout uniform.
I'm sure you did,
Anywho.
Squee. We're all proud of you.
Anyway, let's get back onto the game. So I only caught the end in part of that, but I'm going to switch in character to Gyro, which he says, so what do you say? Got ourselves a deal?
Gosh, right, this thing again.
Yeah. Pick up right where we left off. You don't have to say, yes, we have a deal. I'm just kickstarting the in-character conversation, that's all.
Yeah.
Right. I heard discussions about things that we wanted to do, but I guess out of character, since this is a fairly large decision, I was...
It's an open channel. Anyone can talk to him. It's not just you, so don't feel like you've been put on the spot there, Piffy.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh boy. So, we... do we have a plan, or do you guys kind of up in the air about this?
We were going to ask for a couple of hours to decide, and contact Flint,
Okay.
and see how they feel about it.
Okay. Let's see. We will review your offer, and I would say in a few hours we'll contact you back.
All right. I have to say, there's one thing I noticed that's very peculiar about you.
Hmm.
You're not asking what's in it for you. I just told you what I wanted to do, and you were all in it.
I didn't mean to ask you about that.
Well,
Sorry. Been
that's-
distracted these days.
well, I can imagine running for your life tends to do that. That's one of the things I can kind of offer you, I suppose, is that if you say yes and we make further arrangements, I can guarantee 40% of the men and women that are looking for you aren't going to be looking for you anymore, because those are the people under my command, and a few of the other mercenaries I've kind of greased along the way. I've made some friends with some other folks here in Greencastle, so I can at least make your lives a little bit easier in the immediate, and of course the long-term benefits for you would be great. Of course, with the queen out of the way, there'd be no bounty on your heads. Plus, I'm sure I could come up with a humble amount of monetary compensation, although I imagine whoever hired you to kill Jasper already paid you fine already.
What numbers are we looking at?
As far as compensation?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, to be honest, my first priority is to kind of stabilize this region, and Prince Jasper already drained the coffers quite a bit. Although I recently, I don't suppose, are you interested in any sort of tech, any sort of cyberware, bionics, that sort of thing? Recently, I guess you could say, reincorporated some stock from an individual that no longer serves Greencastle. She up and disappeared. Although, I have a feeling y'all might know something about that too. But that's just a hunch. You don't have to say either way. It's fine.
What kind of tech are we looking at?
Well, other than your standard armors and bionics arms and hands and whatnot, I reckon there's... She was really interested in eye manipulation, and there was very some sophisticated bionic eyes in which, well, kind of blend in. Typically, you got the the robotic look. Well, she was starting to make them look all cosmetic-like. I got one cyber doc, a couple others here that know their way around. We could arrange that as your sort of payment. In addition, of course, I could supply you with weapons, military hardware, some stuff that we're not going to need once, the coup's over. But really, the main price is, well, not being hunted down and killed by me or any of the other folks. Not that I want to, but, I mean, I got to keep up appearances, right? I got to go on the hunt with you. Well, against you, even if, I'm planning behind her back.
All right. Give me a ballpark of what those techs you've been mentioning, and we'll definitely weigh that in.
All right, well, I imagine folks of your caliber probably already have a few black market contacts, but market value for those things sold, probably at you about 50,000 creds. So there you go. Oh, no, yeah, they're about.
All right. I will contact you soon.
All right. You can use this same channel. I'm going to keep it open for 5 hours, and then after that, I'm going to have August start broadcasting new encryptions. Can never be too careful.
Mhm.
All right.
And
Comm is off.
yeah.
Oh, unless you didn't want to turn it off.
No, and I would have reached for the button.
So, do we really care about payment?
No.
Okay, just making sure here.
Yeah, I was
trying
pretty
to,
sure that was
it's
a
clever.
facade.
He's trying to make it sound like, yeah, he's
I
smart.
thought so.
Yeah.
I was gonna say August's contract, but all right.
We'll
Tempting.
bring it up later.
Right. Because we got to look out for Mila, because Mariah sure won't in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There is nothing stopping us from coming back this way.
Except
After.
for a bunch of mercenaries that want us dead.
Yeah.
That could be further down the line when we're not hunted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My first thought would be contact Flint, since they're really the ones that are going to suffer or benefit the most from it.
Exactly.
And because my thoughts were, best case scenario, this guy endorsing this guy helps stop bloodshed. It takes blame off of Flint, and it helps restore order back to Greencastle, because he may not be the best leader, but he's better than chaos. Worst case scenario, he's worse than Jasper. Most likely, somewhere in between. And is somewhere in between better than doing nothing?
Yeah.
Well, I would say we would at least want to contact them so we're not stepping on their toes.
Agreed.
All right.
So, hi again, Fatima.
Yep, no problem. She doesn't say, yeah, no problem, but she answers, you're able to get another radio communique out to her and communicate with her.
Unless anyone wants to roleplay, I say we can save some time and just kind of inform her of the situation.
I think that's probably the best thing. Role-playing's fun, but this is really just getting details gone. So you're telling her what you've just been offered?
Mm-hmm.
So she wants to make it clear that she gets this straight. So one of the mercs wants to take over Greencastle, and he wants the credit for killing Prince Jasper?
Right. Basically, he wants us to say we were working under his name, his orders.
And you would let him know it was Gyro Beid of the Red Suns. And she admits that it's not an ideal situation for Flint. Not at all. She doesn't know. They don't know really anything about Gyro Beid or anything. Whether he's lying to you, whether he's telling the truth, or whether he'd be even a good leader. She says it sounds to her that she wants to. It's clear from the intel that they even have that the mercs don't have enough food. That the refugees are extremely important to them. Right. So clearly he's trying to win hearts and minds, but she doesn't know whether it's going to be like he's just using you to deceive the people to come over there, and then is he going to be just like Prince Jasper? Is he going to be different? She says it's kind of too soon to tell, don't you think?
Absolutely. The more way we were approaching it was this, and you might have more information on this than we would. Is he going to take the town whether we endorse him or not? How likely is it, and how much worse would it be if we don't?
She says if he's going to take the town, there's nothing right now that we can do to stop him. Maybe it will be a good thing, but our priorities, as always have been, are for the people of Flint first, and then in a very close second, the refugees. We didn't sacrifice all this to try to help them, to send them back to their homes in as bad of a situation as they do, as he is, right? She suggests that you stay hidden wait for him to do his coup as he says, and then wait and see how he rules. Then decide to endorse him. Retroactively say, yeah, we worked for him all along, right? That way, then you're safe. But she says, whether you do something or not, it saves you just fine. If he takes over and the queen is dead, then all the queen's edicts, including your bounty, is gone.
We're not concerned with us. We'll be fine. We're more concerned with the people of Flint, which is why we called you.
Well, you know my thoughts on that then. Far too soon to tell. If he's the real deal, if he's at least halfway decent as a ruler, then fine. But frankly, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if no one ruled Greencastle and the people of Flint just went on back and elected their own ruler. But it doesn't look like he plans on doing that. So that's really a moot point.
So, out of character, guys, I'm fine with that advice, too. Just kind of because...
That's her perspective,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it kind of mirrors my own perspective, which was my only concern was, is it really going to take flack off of Flint? And she doesn't seem to think it will one way or the other. So, I'm fine doing it her way. The only thing is we'd have to find some way to retroactively endorse him because there's a good chance we might not be in this area when that happens. We might be gone in a few days, and the time it would take him to launch a coup and see if he's a decent ruler, we're talking months.
Yeah.
And probably even longer than that, because, I mean, if you're ruling a city, how long do you need before you can really gauge someone as a ruler? So maybe some way to a recording or something that we can give to Flint to use at their discretion. Because again, if we're not in the area, what do we care? I mean, you know what I mean. That sounds harsh, but you know what I mean. Whether Flint uses it or not, it won't affect us too much if it helps Flint.
So you're saying give Flint a recording of us saying that we endorse this dude?
To use at their discretion. Which means
It seems... It sounds a bit strange, but I can roll with it.
It's the only way we could, as far as I can know, that we could be sure to pull off what she's suggesting, because if we're, say, all the way up in Perrin's Post, or in space, or wherever, how are we going to endorse this guy?
We don't.
Yeah.
We don't.
Exactly.
It would be now or never, essentially.
Or we do like I said, and that way she can do her plan, which is wait and see if he's a good ruler. But see, at that point, if he's already a good ruler and taken over, what does it matter if he has our endorsement?
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, even if we were to do all this and everything, if Flint just all of a sudden, hey, we have a recording, it would just point the finger that they were the ones that hired us to do this.
I would assume they could find a more covert way of releasing said recording, but it doesn't change the fact that I don't really think it would matter at that point.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter. It just would all be for it would be completely up to us.
Yep.
Essentially.
So,
Would you guys be willing to endorse this guy with the unknown of he could be a shitty ruler, but also save a whole bunch of lives? Or would you like to not? And the consequence would be to lose a bunch of lives in order to take Greencastle, but still he could be a shitty ruler. He would have a harder time to get the people to come back and all of that.
You know, actually, I don't think it's quite that harsh. You lose a bunch of lives or save a bunch of lives. If I remember correctly, he wanted our endorsement so that the refugees come back to Greencastle, and maybe when he launches his coup, a few lives might be saved because they won't fight against him. I believe that even if we don't endorse him or do endorse him, the same general amount of lives will be lost in the coup. I think his big goal was getting the refugees to come back to him, which really would save lives.
He needs a workforce.
Yeah. So
Yeah, he needs a workforce.
Food is running out, and fucking merchants can't harvest worth shit.
So basically, the coup is going to kill the comparative amount of people either way. Some may not fight against him if we endorse him, but it's not going to be a huge number, if I understand correctly. So it's not like if we endorse him, we'll save lots of lives.
Yeah.
You'll just make it easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally.
Also.
Oh, go ahead.
We also need to think if we do endorse him. A lot of his guys will not be looking for us anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I may be jumping the gun a bit on this one, but given that we want to jump back to Parents Post in a few days, unless they find us very, very quickly, I don't think they're going to be a big. No, I'm not saying they can't, of course, but what I'm saying is I don't think that problem is big enough to put in front of Flint's well-being. Because in a few days, we'll be gone, theoretically.
Theoretically.
Right.
I mean, they could just be between us and where we want to go.
Very true.
Between us and the ruins.
No, absolutely true. And that's definitely a risk. I'm just trying to play numbers here. And if we were going to be here for a long time, it would matter a lot more.
Yeah. Hedging our bets, it would be better to not endorse just because we're not going to be fucking near and it's not going to really matter. But there is always the whole, hey, you didn't endorse us, so we're going to capture you anyways. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, but I mean, we've got a lot of people that want us dead.
Personally,
I wouldn't want to sacrifice Flint's well-being for that part. And I don't think anyone would. So, but
yeah.
I mean, like, I'm not suggesting that's what you were suggesting. I'm just pointing out.
I know.
That would be. If Criana,
Guys?
thoughts?
Well.
Piff, let's you and I discuss this because Burn and we discuss. All right,
Okay.
Piff. So what? Well, how do you feel about the current situation that we're talking about at this moment in time in this game of ours?
You're stalling.
Good.
You're stalling.
Of course we aren't.
Do you guys think endorsing is a good idea, or do you just want them to figure it out on their own?
Dude, I can see like the pros and cons of both sides. I really can't
Yeah, there's a
commit
lot
to anything. And
Do you guys want to just put a little vote and then abstain from a vote if you can't decide? I'm sorry. You keep putting all these decisions.
No, it's okay. It's been a long day and my brain's kind of fried, so I'm trying to think. I say that Burn. What did you say? Oh shit! I mean, Burn.
All right,
I really. I don't know.
Do you,
It's
I can do my part, and maybe that will that will jog your mind in some direction, I guess.
Hopefully.
All right, so I'm going to go with the more dangerous option for us to not endorse them.
Not endorse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me as well.
Okay.
I agree. Yay!
Okay. There we go.
3-1.
So you're gonna say. So here, I guess this is the only last question to wrap this up. Are you gonna call him back and let him know?
Well,
Not call him back. Are you gonna radio him back and let him know?
give us a good head start if we don't, if we're trying to do something. I don't think we really want to inform you like, oh, we're enemies now, if you want to know.
Yeah, we decided to decline your offer. I know that means you're going to try and kill us, but we can still be friends.
So you want silence to be your answer then?
You can either do that, or if you really want, you can make them run around in circles.
You can ask. You're asking me what I really. No, it's what you
No,
guys
I
want to
said
do.
squee.
Piff has
Oh.
a decent
what do you
idea.
mean?
We could tell him, sure, we'll endorse you. Bye-bye. Like, we'll endorse
Alright.
you, and then we just never endorse him.
You could do that.
Is that what you were going for, Piff?
Oh no, I was more of just like
I feel like that's putting. I mean, like I know a lot of people want to kill us, but like I want to give them less reasons to want to kill us.
Yeah.
I do have an opinion on that.
I'm gonna give them
Yeah.
less reasons to kill us, and us
Yeah.
cheating them maybe might not be the best. Criana, you just made up for everything with that remark.
Thank you. I do try.
No problem.
So, silence, then?
yeah, it's either silence or like making them go to a remote area and us not being there.
I almost want to call him because he didn't seem like when I asked if we don't, what's the consequences? He's just basically shrugged. I mean, it would be at least decent to tell him.
To tell him that we're not going to look. We don't want to tell a merc band that to tell them like, hey, since you're hunting us, a good heads up. We're not going to do what you want to do, so feel free to keep hunting us. That'd be great.
All right, fine. Let's just silent.
As
Let's
much
do
as
the
I like
silent
the
treatment.
idea of being the gentleman of it, Al would probably hit his head against the desk.
Good sir, we would like to politely decline your offer.
That's fine.
Essentially,
All
that's
right.
what I was saying.
All right. So we're going with radio silence then, right? So we'll just continue on with the traveling and everything like that, right?
Indeed.
Okay. So you do manage to travel for a few hours, of course, heading back to the northeast this time. You haven't even finished your first day of travel. Now, there was some rumblings about some player-initiated scenes. Would anyone like to take advantage of that?
I can't think of any player initiative scenes that I want to do.
Okay.
How long are we traveling? Like,
Yeah.
what's the
Time frame?
yeah?
Between, we'll say about 2 and 3 hours. 2 to 3
Okay.
hours. Yeah.
Out of curiosity, what's everyone doing during these 2 to 3 hours?
Oh, Patrick is back and working on his ship.
Al will probably spend most of the time in the med bay, and Inferno, this would be interesting to know, trying to, not any heavy conversation, small talk with his patient, and not to the point where it would upset him. So mostly silence, but-
Yeah, okay. Mostly silence. If you sit in mostly silence, he'll tolerate it.
Okay, yeah, but most of his time will be spent in the med bay.
Okay. All right.
And-
Tom?
And
Tom. Yeah, I know this sounds morbid and everything, but now he knows that James T is dead. He is going to be playing with Hannibal for the first time in a very long time.
Oh,
Wow.
that's not morbid.
It is a little, actually.
It is a little. Hey, James T can't bother me. Hannibal.
I'm happy he's dead.
all right. Well, I guess for anyone in the Behemoth, which is all of you,
Except
which is
Pam, who's floating alongside. No.
should know. Pam is don't even joke about that. That's not funny. Sorry, that's really asshole. You would hear coming from the kitchen what sounds like glass breaking.
Do
Like,
you go to
repeatedly.
investigate? Actually, probably Burn would be the closest there, but you can all choose to
Yeah.
investigate. It would definitely be loud enough.
Al's
I
gonna
want to
stick
see
his-
what's going on.
You'll see Al's head stick outside of the infirmary with a raised eyebrow. Like, huh?
So Tom, you go check it out.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. You would see Mariah standing in the middle of the kitchen. There's shattered glass everywhere, like plates and cups and all of that. And Like, she's not wearing any shoes or anything, so she's like stepping on it. Her head is tilted down, and she's still wearing the wig, so it's basically covering her face. And she's just reaching over to different cabinets, picking up without even looking, and throwing things to the ground.
Shit. Mariah? Mariah? Are you okay?
She does not respond. She continues doing it.
Al, I need your help.
Al will be coming. Yeah.
At this point, Lee, Kamel, and Bear are all investigating this kerfuffle as well. But this isn't about them, so I'm going to give you guys the right of way.
Yeah, Patrick will definitely be there.
Mm-hmm.
As my cat almost breaks everything in my room. Sorry.
She's taking after Mariah.
Yeah, it really is. Sorry.
Al,
Al will
she's
get
not
to the
responding.
scene, and I assume her feet are cut.
Probably. She's been walking on glass, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
When she moves over to, like, if a cabinet gets emptied, she kind of, like, she's not really, like, stumbling like she's injured, but she's, like, moving sort of not normally. Like her limbs are stiff, and she's kind of just jarringly, like, moving around the kitchen and grabbing things, head still tilted down.
Al is going to go to her and say, Mariah?
She doesn't respond.
He's going to kind of, like, put a hand under her chin and turn her face and look at her eyes to see, are they focused, unfocused, etc.
She would, as soon as your hand touches her chin, she throws her head back and starts laughing very loudly.
Oh, boy. Al is going to try and get her to go to the infirmary.
How?
She actually,
I know.
she then, she's reaching for you, Al, and she rests her hands on your shoulders. And she kind of leans into you and whispers, I could kill you right now, but you want to know a secret? I'm not going to.
That's good. Al has this very kind of disturbed look on his face.
Bear is moving towards you at this point.
Al is like, he'll kind of also put his hands on her shoulders and say, Mariah, why don't we come to the infirmary? And kind of start trying to lead her that direction.
No. And her head kind of goes back down, and, like, she's just shaking it slowly.
All right.
Is it all right if I... Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, is she allowing Al to direct her to the infirmary? Or is she
No, she'll push you off if you try and, like, lead her anywhere.
Okay.
Are you guys comfortable with an NPC asking Mariah a question?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Bear will ask, what do you want, Mariah?
Oh, Bear. You remember me? She looks at him, and her eyes are kind of wild.
I don't know. Memory's a funny thing.
No, I'm not Nora. That's what you said. I'm Nora. Nora. Poor Nora. Oh, but is she Mila or is she Nora? Or maybe she's Mariah.
Al's going to look at Bear and Mila.
You need to stop this. Whoever you are, You're scaring people.
Am I scaring people? Or am I scaring you?
Yes, you're scaring me.
Oh, Bear. Oh, Bear, you poor thing. You're in denial. You're in denial about a lot of things. But that's like the pot calling the kettle black, isn't it?
I just want to help you.
You don't want to help me. You want to find something that doesn't exist anymore. You don't want to help me. You want to help yourself because poor Bear lost the town and lost family.
Stop. Don't say such things. Guys?
Okay. Yeah. Al's going to go to Bear and very quietly say, Bear, I know you don't have enough reason to trust me, but it might be best if you not be in the room. I will treat her injuries and we will get her to that doctor as soon as we can.
He looks to Mariah, and he looks to you, Al, and to you, Tom. And Patrick, did you come investigate?
Yes.
And to you, Patrick. Mm-hmm. And he says this, even though it's in front of Mariah, because there's no point. He says, as soon as we can, then we go now. Find your lizard ally, this Tyrath. Summon him. She is in trouble. We need to go now.
Al agrees.
Yep, let's go.